Everybody connected?
Anybody that's not say so?
It looks like they connected. Nina, are you there in South Boston? Okay, and Keysville, are y'all there?
Yes.
Wonderful, and good morning.
Good morning. All right. Everybody's week going well for you so far?
Yep.
Big plans for the weekend?
Sleeping.
What was that, Megan?
Sleeping.
Sleeping. Jeez.
What a waste of time, Maggie.
That's right. You know, my theory when I was in college about sleeping, I'd get enough sleep when I was dead. I gotta take my jacket off. I figured I'd get enough sleep when I was dead when I was in college. Now I've gotten older and, man, I crash. I'll sit down on the couch. I come in of the evenings or something, and we'll be watching something on TV, and I'm out. But my wife says you can sit down. She goes, you don't quit until you come in and you sit down, and then you're out. So I don't know if my college attitude is catching up with me, or it's just getting older. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you do something. Life's too short. You got to get out. All right. I want to finish up. I gave you guys, or asked you guys to read that extension publication from Arkansas on how to do the Pearson Square. Did y'all do that? Be honest. You guys there and Patrick Henry, y'all read that thing I put up on Blackboard on how to balance rations?
No.
Okay. What about you guys at Keysville?
I didn't get a chance to look at it. I was working all day yesterday.
All right. Nina, Caitlin, did y'all have a chance to look at it?
Yes.
All right, good deal. It'll help you out a little bit today. It won't all be Greek. Everybody, I mean, I'm going to give you a homework assignment. You're going to have to balance the ration. And I know Nina and Megan, we've already gone through this in other classes we had because they're doing the biosecurity plan for the farm. So they've had to learn how to balance rations for health reasons, livestock. Feed them properly, we keep them healthy. If they have the proper nutrition, they're more likely to stay healthy and help fight diseases. So they've been exposed to it and are having to do it. So hopefully they should be pretty good at it because they should have a lot of practice for their biosecurity plans in a couple of weeks. So anyway, we're going to go over that after I finish up this chapter on nutrition. Now, the last two classes we were we've been talking about animal nutrition, what the nutrients are used for, and we've talked about energy. We've talked about proteins and vitamins and minerals. We know the importance of water. We have to have it. And today we're going to talk about energy form. We talked about it. We broke it down to fats, carbohydrates.
Can you get closer to the mic, please?
I will try. It's still giving us problems. So anyway, we ended up Tuesday talking about supplements to feed. We talked about prebiotics, probiotics, and phytases that are used in the poultry and swine industry to break down, to make phosphorus available to the animals. One of the things that we need to worry about or be concerned about in feeding their livestock as well are toxic plants and fungal toxins that can get on their feet. You guys in Keysville, y'all raise corn, right? Or is it so? What do y'all raise out there other than cattle?
Corn.
Corn. All right. Y'all. So you're pretty familiar with some of the molds that can grow on corn, right? Like aflatoxins and ergot. I don't guess ergot, but aflatoxins.
Well, yeah, I've heard of them, yes. I'm not too informed on them, but yeah.
Okay. These fungi that can grow on corn, they're vomitoxins that grow does vomitoxins grow on corn, John, or is it just wheat?
Just wait, I think.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. Ergot that can grow on wheat and barley and sorghums and other grasses as well. These things can cause bad reactions in animals. They can be toxic. Horses and sheep, or horses and swine, are really sensitive to moldy grain. You'll kill them. You'll kill them in a heartbeat. Cattle, they're a bit more tolerant. Sheep are less tolerant. So we've got to check and make sure we're not feeding moldy grain to animals. You know, we can, if it's these aflatoxins in corn, you know, and a lot of it depends on the growing season. You know, if they're on the corn or not, with humidity and heat, with a lot of rain. But you know, if it's above a certain level, it doesn't, you know, or parts per million in the corn, you can affect the production of pigs, and you can kill horses, and if you feed too much of it to cattle, you can kill cattle or affect reproduction in cattle. So be aware that there's fungi and molds that grow on corn and grains that we feed our livestock, and it can kill our animals. It can affect reproduction because the aflatoxin has estrogenic effects to it. Acts like the hormone estrogen. But we can have some pretty bad consequences of feeding moldy grain or moldy hay. We want to feed our animals good quality. Okay, mold will kill horses in a heartbeat. So cattle, they're a little bit more lenient than with us with horses. You know, we just don't want we can end up with some respiratory problems and possibly poison. So another toxic that we have to deal with, it's a ergot. I said it grows in grains. We also see it. It also grows in grasses. It can be on grass. In particular, the one we have to deal with, guys, is fescue. What's their predominant grass in Virginia? Anybody know?
Fescue.
Fescue. Y'all have it big time out there in south side. We have it big time here in southwestern Virginia. It's their most dominant grass in Virginia. Full season grass. It's tough. It's hardy. We can abuse it, and you know, we can get by with it. And we treat it right, man. We can have some really good forages. It has a lot of benefits, but it has this ergot on there that can cause us some issues. In horses, our main issue with this ergot in fescue is with brood mares and stallions. We if you have brood mares, you want to pull them off that fescue hay about 60 to 90 days prior to foaling, because otherwise you can end up with a thickened placenta. You can end up with weak foals. You can end up with no milk in the mare. So pull the fescue hay off. You know, get your mares off of fescue about 60 to 90 days prior to foaling. Put them on a different grass or different hay. With cattle, what we see a lot are growth issues. They just don't seem to grow as well. They're less heat tolerant. In really extreme cases, their hooves can come off. They get that's a condition known as fescue foot. But it sure makes them a lot more sensitive. So, how can we, as cattle producers, if you raise cattle, how can you manage that? Because that's what we have in our pastures. What can we do to help manage our fescue?
Can you say that again, please?
What can we do as as we raise cattle to help? How can we manage the problems we have with fescue in cattle? Well,
rotate pastures.
Okay, what did you say?
So you can rotate pastures.
Okay. What they've found is most of the problem is in the seed. Okay. If we can keep the grass in a leafy state and not let it get stemmy and go to seed, our cattle do better. Okay. So if we can go in there, use pasture rotation, and keep it about 8 inches or so, keep that stem from forming a seed head, we can get along a lot better. The other thing we can do, or you can go in there and clip it down, graze it or clip it. The other thing you can do with it is you can dilute it with clover. That will help lessen the effects of it. Plus you get the protein from the legumes. Those are the two most cost-effective ones we have. You know, you can't go in there, kill it out, and come in there with another species of grass. That's pretty expensive. So just proper management and going in there and overseeding it with zinc and diluting it down will help tremendously with pesky stock. With horses, you know, if you don't have breeding stock, you don't have brood mares, don't worry about it. You'll be okay. It can cut down the fertility of stallions, so as well. So you don't want to feed it to. You don't want to have your brood mares, 60 to 90 days before foaling or fescue. You don't want to have your studs being fed fescue hay prior, 60 to 90 days prior to breeding. So, if you just have trail horses or ranch horses, not breeding them, there's not a need. So you'll be just fine. Are there any poisonous plants that we need to be concerned about with livestock? Okay, we have.
Isn't there?
Go
I think
ahead.
something called nightshade.
Yeah. Nightshade is poisonous to livestock. Robert said wild cherry. Do y'all have wild cherry trees out there in Southside and Patrick Henry?
Yeah, plenty here.
Yeah. Y'all know what wild cherry trees are, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about? You've seen them out.
Yes.
Okay. Limb breaks out of that in the summertime in the rainstorm, and those leaves wilt, and cattle eat it, they will die. It forms, it's a poison kind of like pretty much cyanide. Well, it turns to cyanide. And that'll sure kill them. Nightshade is poisonous. You said buckeyes. Do y'all have buckeye trees?
What exactly is that?
It's a tree that has a nut type on it, or a burr type thing, and we don't have much of them here, but in I'm sure in the eastern part of the service area, south side, I'm sure has buckeye.
Well, we sure
but
got them where we're at. That's odd. Y'all don't have them.
We don't have them, Dwayne.
Huh. I mean, we have them. I figured y'all would have some, but I didn't think Southside would. But buckeyes are poisonous to cattle. What about acorns
Yeah, we have
from oak
those.
trees? They're poisonous to cattle. They get acorn poison.
Are they technically poisonous, Dwayne, or is it the reaction that occurs from them? The acorn itself is not poisonous.
Reaction. I think it's the reaction that occurs from them.
It's the bloat and gases that come.
Yeah, it's that tannin stuff they produce that get them pretty sick. Deer, we know deer, that's their preferred food, right? But they have an enzyme that will break that down. Cattle don't have that enzyme, and it'll get them sick. I'm not familiar with that one. Bleeding heart bush.
Bleeding heart, it's a herbaceous plant, grows in elevated, shady, high organic matter, basically wooded areas. I wouldn't have thought that it would have produced enough top to have been toxic to animals.
Well, Robert says it'll kill his sheep and goats.
Well, I wouldn't have thought there would have been enough volume of the plant to to have done it. It must be highly toxic if it is.
Must be. Let's see. Some other ones is rhododendron. I know y'all have that in Patrick County.
Yeah.
That's poisonous. Hemlock. Y'all have that there? I'm sure you do.
You talking about the tree hemlock or
No, not
okay.
the hemlock tree.
You're talking about the
like water hemlock and those other species of.
They're not. It's not prominent. There's some in spotty areas, but not a lot.
Okay. We're getting it. We're getting it in this area now. A lot of ornamentals can be poisonous to livestock. So if you be careful. You know, when you trim up your ornamentals, just don't throw it over the fence. Like the Japanese yew, that's poisonous. Azalea leaves. Red maple, you know, the red maple tree, those leaves are poisonous to horses. It'll cause kidney failure. One of the plants that we have an issue with in the springtime here is larkspur. We call it staggerweed. It's one of the first things that greens up. Cattle go chase it, and it will kill them in a heartbeat. But we have that. There's a lot of plants out there that are poisonous, and some of the feed that we feed can be. Sorghums and Sudan grass, under the right circumstances, can be poisonous to our animals. But yet, it's a good forage crop if it's treated properly. Any others y'all have in your areas that y'all may have that we don't have? You know, there's a lot of plants that, you know, are kind of regional. Like out west, you have loco weed. I don't think we have that here. Got more of an arid, desert, or semi-arid type plant. Did y'all lose? Did I lose sound? Can y'all still hear me?
We hear you.
All right. Do we have loco weed here, John?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's just out west. But there's different, you know, get to know the poisonous plants in your areas. You can use pesticides to spray them and get rid of them, or chainsaw to get rid of the buckeye trees, because they're really not good for anything but problem.
I don't know the plant. What is it?
It's Native Americans used to use it.
Ask Dwayne.
What about peyote out west? Is that harmful to animals?
You know, I know that's a mushroom, right? Or a fungus.
Don't think so, Dwayne. Not if it's out west.
I don't know if they would eat it.
Okay.
If they did, it probably would be. It's got some pretty hallucinogenic effects to people. It probably had the same effects to the animals if they ate it. But I really don't know, other than pigs going out and, you know, go out and eat mushrooms and everything. I don't know. I haven't really seen cattle or horses and sheep and goats to go find mushrooms or eat the mushrooms out there growing.
Deer will eat mushrooms.
Will they?
Yeah.
Maybe cattle will too, but I just hadn't seen it.
Well, it's a volume thing, Dwayne. There's not a whole lot of volume of them generally, and you're looking at a pretty good sized animal. If that plant's not extremely toxic, it'll never affect them.
Right. But be aware there's plants out there that are poisonous or can make your animals sick. So get to know the plants in your area. Another thing we did discuss that you'll need to know for your next exam are the sources of energy, sources of protein, things like that we talked about. One other thing I want to talk about is I want to talk a little bit about corn. It's the most widely used energy source for pigs and poultry in the United States. And we use it a lot in the beef and dairy industries. Sorghum, milo grain, oats, barley, and wheat are also used in animal feeds. There's 3 types of ruminant feed that we kind of think of. Number 1 is forage. Okay, we want to. They're high fiber feeds. That would be our pastures, hay, silage. And ideally, our rations are going to be forage. Ideally, we could just leave them grazing year round. That would be best, so we didn't have to buy feed. But that's pretty tough to do. So we have, and then even in some areas of the country where where they can graze year round, a lot of times you're still going to have to supplement with energy or protein during different times of the year and different times of the production cycles of cattle, like we discussed the other day. And when we supplement with protein or energy, we refer to those feeds as concentrates, because it's a concentrated energy source or a concentrated protein source. And it can be grain, it can be soybean meal, it can be pellets, it can be cake, but it can be, it's either energy or protein, so you need to specify, make it clear when you're talking to somebody what type of concentrate you're feeding, whether it's a protein concentrate or an energy concentrate. And the other thing we use a lot in cattle feed, and this is because they're ruminants and we can get by with this, are byproducts of the corn milling process. We talked about the other day we talked a little bit about corn gluten meal. We talked the other day about using brewer's grain and distiller's grain to feed cattle with. But when corn gluten meal is a byproduct of the wet milling process, and so we're able to use those byproducts in animal feed, or at least for cattle. So that can cut down our costs, and we can use that to fill a hole. I think we also talked about using potato chips and Oreos, and gummy bears when we were talking about that Tuesday. Now, before we finish up this chapter, I wanted to talk a little bit about bioenergy and the effect it's having on animal feed. How much of all the corn that's grown in the United States, how much of it do you think is used for animal feed? And how much do you think is used for ethanol production? $20.80. You think 80% used for animal feed and 20% is... Okay. Robert thinks it's 20% for animal feed, 80% for ethanol. What do you guys think? Give me some participation. I'm afraid I'm losing.
60% for ethanol.
Okay. Y'all are pretty close. Right now, ethanol uses about 40% of total grain production. Animal feed's about 36%. And then food products, like high fructose corn syrup and things like that, that's made, food products made from corn, it's about 24%. Used to be animal feed was about 60%. But not anymore. The ethanol mandates from the EPA has kind of changed that stuff around. I forgot to look at how many billions of bushels grown of corn, what the projected amount of corn production was this year. But just to kind of put things in perspective, a couple years ago, the U.S. produced about 13.9 billion bushels of corn. And they made, this was in 2013, they made 13 billion gallons of ethanol. And that 13 billion gallons used about almost 5 billion bushels of corn. Last year, ethanol production was almost 15 billion gallons. It takes 1 bushel of corn to produce, or 1 bushel of corn will produce about 2.7 to 2.8 gallons of ethanol. So, that's a lot of corn that's going into ethanol production. And it's raised the price of corn for animal feed. And sometimes, depending on our level of production, and I can determine how much corn's going to be, and it could price it out of the market for animal feed. A few years ago, back in, I guess about 07, 08, or 09, corn got up to about $7 a bushel. We had some pretty bad growth. And as ethanol mandates were kicking in, gas got up to about $4 a gallon, and it was pretty expensive. Corn got pretty high. Now it's down pretty low. We've had some pretty good bumper crops. But anyway, there's a lot of factors that determine pricing from growing seasons and other uses of crops. But just be aware of that. Luckily, in the cattle industry, we can use a lot of byproducts from corn to feed our livestock. Any questions on chapter 14? No questions? Are you sure about that, guys? Or you just don't want to talk? All right. I'll assume that you're sure about that. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to contact me, okay? Now, we're going to swap gears a little bit and talk about beef nutrition, and we're going to talk about how to balance rations. Yesterday or Tuesday in class, we talked about the 4 stages of production in cattle, right? 4 production stages within a year, and how their nutritional requirements change. Y'all remember that? You can find that here in ration balancing folder under beef nutrition, because that's not in the book, but it's something you guys need to know if you're feeding livestock. Alright, so you can open that up and read about the 4 different you can read about beef nutrition, maybe in the part 2 part. Yeah, establish nutritional requirements. We're looking at stage of production, body size, body condition. Body condition is how much fat cover they got, you know, fat versus skinny, being in the proper shape. Lactation and stage of production and lactate, the level of milk production there during lactation. So, you need to understand those. You'll see questions on that on your next exam. So make sure you read that one as well.
Dwayne, whenever you swivel and turn away, we cannot hear you at all, and I'm sorry. It's just...
Well, I don't know what to do because I can't take the microphone. I'm trying to look at the students' faces on the screen to see if they're in the twilight zone or if they're with me.
I'm just stating the fact. When you look away.
Yeah, I know, and I am too. I'm trying to keep people's interest, and I can't get anybody to talk. So you guys make sure you read Beef Nutrition 1 and 2 and the Pearson Square right here. Now, what we're going to do is go over how to balance a ration with the Pearson Square. And since we're having such issues with the sound, it's going to be pretty tough because I need to go over to my document camera so you can see what I'm doing. But my microphone will not go that far. So it's going to be a challenge. So bear with me, please. All right. In this example in the book, or on this page, thank you. What we're going to do is we are going to balance a ration for a steer. Okay, we're just going to feed out a steer, put in the freezer, and we're going to walk through that. Now,
this is his favorite thing. He'll be on every
What are you saying, John?
Nothing. I just wanted to make sure they pay attention to you, that's all.
Yeah. Pay attention. I love this stuff. All right. And I know some of you guys, when I asked you what you wanted to learn in here, I did get responses that you want to learn how to balance rations. So here we go. Put your antennas up. So in this example, we've got a 500-pound steer, and we want this steer to gain 2 pounds a day. And we're going to feed this steer until he weighs 1,200 pounds, and then we're going to take him to the butcher shop, put him in the freezer. So when we go to balanced rations, the first thing that we have to know is what animal, or we have to know what animal we're feeding, okay? And what our goals are. So in this example, what we're going to be feeding is a 500-pound steer, and we want him to gain 2 pounds a day, and he will finish out at 1,200 pounds. Everybody with me? So if we're feeding cows, okay, we have a cow herd and we're going to be balancing a ration, say for right now, say we've just weaned our calves, and we looked at the body condition of our cows, and we've got some thin looking cows. We're going to separate our fat cows from our thin cows, and we're going to feed our thin cows and try to get some weight on them because they just finished lactation. If we start calving in March, they're in that third stage of production when their nutrient requirements are the lowest. So we can get weight on them pretty easy. So in that case, we're going to be looking at say our cows weigh 1,200 pounds, they're not lactating, and we need them to gain 200 pounds. That's what we're going to look up the nutrient requirements for. You understand what I'm saying? It changes. And that's going to be different than if the cow just calved. She's going to have different requirements now compared to when she calved, right? So, what we have here, let me come back over here now. So what we're going to do, and let me show you where to find this. Back in Blackboard under the ration balancing folder, I have the nutrient requirement table for beef cattle. Okay? So if you click on that and open it up, these are the nutrient requirements for cattle. And so in this example, we can scroll down here. And find what we're looking for. So let's try to find. Just so you know, I'm not pulling numbers out of the air. There's 2-year-old heifers, pregnant growing steers, and heifer calves. All right, we want our calf to finish at 1,200 pounds. Are we gonna use this one that finishes off at 1,100?
No.
No. We're gonna use this one at 1,200. Yeah. All right, so we're going to scroll down here to 500 pounds. That's the one we want. Now we got to come up here and see what each of these columns mean. ADG, average daily gain. That's how much we want them to gain every day. In this case, we want 2 pounds a day of gain, right? DMI stands for dry matter intake. If we take all the water out of our feed and we're just feeding them completely dry feedstuffs, that's how many pounds a day they need. TDN is our measurement of energy. Crude protein is a measurement of our protein. And this is on a per pound basis over here. This is on percentage, and this is on pounds. So, how many pounds of energy do we have to feed this calf? How many pounds of protein do we have to feed? So we come back down here to our 500 pound steer at 2 pounds a day. He's going to eat 12.6 pounds on a dry matter basis. We add water to it, like when we actually go out, grab hay, that's not on a dry matter basis. That's going to be as fed. If we remove the water, it'll be on a dry matter basis. So if we're going to be feeding, say, 10 pounds of hay, on a dry matter basis, when we add that water to it, hay's typically about 90% dry matter, it's 10% water. We're actually going to be, in real life, we're actually going to be feeding a little bit more hay. Dry matter is always less than as fed. Always. As fed has the water to it. So this calf, this steer is going to eat 12.6 pounds a day on a dry matter basis. The energy content of our ration needs to be 68%, and our protein content of our ration needs to be 12.9% protein. Or we could look at it poundage wise. Of that 12.6 pounds a day that he's going to eat, 8.6 pounds of that needs to be energy, and 1.63 pounds of that needs to be protein. Everybody with me?
Didn't hear it, the last thing you said.
About how many pounds of protein, or me asking if everybody's with me?
No, the protein, you just faded completely out.
Oh, okay.
1.3 something.
1.63 pounds of protein. So we know through science and a lot of experiments how much our animals need. Okay? And so we can look it up on tables. So we're feeding cows. We can come up here and look at our cows. If we have a 1,200 pound cow that, produces, say, medium milk, so let's just say about 20 pounds of milk. These are months after calving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months after calving, we can find, we know what she needs. Okay? That makes sense? Whatever class of animal we have, we can look it up on these tables to find out what they require. So that's going to be your first step. Figuring out what class of animal you have, figure out what the requirements are. Everybody with me?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to write it down where I'm here. All right. Let me put it over here. So, all I did right here, you see it? I just wrote down the requirements from a calf. Got a 500-pound calf, 2 pounds a day. It's going to finish out at 1,200 pounds. It's going to eat 12.6 pounds of dry matter intake a day. Protein, I expressed it as pounds and a percent for you. And I did the same thing with energy. Today, in this example, we're just going to worry about protein and energy. Calcium and phosphorus, you do the exact same thing I'm doing that I'm going to show you. Figure that one out. But we're just going to concentrate on protein and energy. Okay, what do you think the second step would be? What's the second thing we need to know? We know what animal we're feeding, and we can look up the nutrient requirements. What else do we need to know?
Can you put that sheet back up for a sec? Thank you.
That's on Blackboard there. What do you think the second step you need to know?
The age, maybe?
No, we're not worried about age. We're worried about their class of animal. So we've got our animal took care of. We know their requirements. What else do you think we need to know? Do we have to know what we're feeding them? Okay, you're right, we do. In this example, what we're going to feed is fescue hay, shelled corn, and soybean meal. So that's what we have available to us to feed this steer. And just like we have to know that steer's requirements, we have to know the nutrient content of this feed. And what you can do is take samples of your hay and corn and send them off get it analyzed, and you will know this for certain. Otherwise, we just kind of look at averages. But in real life, you're best off getting it sampled. Costs you about $14 to $15 a sample, or it did, used to, maybe a little bit more. And you'll come back with knowing exactly the nutrient content of your feed. So, second step is to know what you're feeding. As I said in this example, we're going to be feeding fescue hay, shelled corn, and soybean. Now, the nutrient content of our fescue hay, 90% dry matter. The energy level in it, or the TDN, is 52%, and it's 10% protein. Shelled corn is our second ingredient. It's 90% dry matter, 90% TDN, 9.8% protein. And soybean meal is 89% dry matter, 84% TDN for energy, and 49.9% protein. Okay, guys. What are our fescue hay is going to be our rough feed, right? It's going to be our forage, right? Shelled corn and soybean meal are going to be our concentrates. Now, what do we use? When we use corn, shelled corn, what nutrient are we mainly going after when we use corn? That's right, Megan. Energy. 90% TDN. Very high energy feed. What about soybean meal? What nutrient are we going to go at? What nutrient are we wanting the soybean meal to replace? Energy or protein?
Protein.
Protein. Very high in protein. So, we got step 1 done. We know what our nutrient requirements for our animal is. Step 2, we know what our feed, our nutrient content of our feed is. What do you think step 3 is? Come on, guys. Participate. What's next?
Is it putting all that into an equation somehow?
Yeah, we get to the meat of it now. We get to start to balance the ration. What nutrient do you think we're going to balance for to begin with? If you were starting, would you balance for energy first, or would you balance for protein first? If we look at it, the two things together, This steer requires 68% energy, 12% protein. What's his biggest nutrient requirement? Energy or protein?
Energy.
Energy. So we're going to balance for energy because that's their biggest nutrient requirement. All right. So we're going to balance for energy. So what we're going to do to balance this equation is we're going to use, for balance for this nutrient, we're going to use what's called a Pearson square. Okay? Simple to do. Now, the two ingredients that we're going to use to balance this ration for energy, we're going to use hay because that's what we've raised on our farm, right? And we're going to use corn. Remember, we're just going to use soybean meal as a protein supplement. So, what we're going to do, I can't draw it out for you and talk at the same time due to these issues with our microphone. So, I'm playing the game of takeaway. What we're going to do is we're just going to draw a square. In the middle of the square, we're going to put on there the steer's nutrient requirement. So this steer requires 68% energy in the feed, right? That's what we're going to put in the middle of the square. On the left-hand side of that square, we're going to put our two feeds that we're using to supply energy. Our hay, our fescue hay, and our shelled corn. Our fescue hay is 52% energy, and our shelled corn is 90% energy. Put that on the left-hand side. See what I did? Any questions so far? Any questions at Keysville or South Side or South Boston? Are y'all still awake?
Yes.
Yes to questions, or yes, you're still awake?
Yes, we're still awake.
All right. Y'all have any questions?
No.
Good. All right. Nina, you're okay with this?
Yes, sir.
All right. What about Caitlin there at Southside? You with me?
Yes.
All right. Okay. What we're going to do now, after we get their initial square set up, we're going to subtract. We're we're going to subtract diagonally across our square. So we're going to take 68 minus 52 and write that in our lower right hand corner. And then we're going to take 68 from 90 and put that in our upper corner. Do not worry about positive or negative signs. I just want absolute. Okay. Now we're going to add those two numbers together. 22, 60. 22 plus 16 equals 38. All right. What these numbers mean is there's 22 parts of fescue in our ration and 16 parts of corn. That will give us 68% TDN. But we don't know how big a part is, right? We just know the way we have it set up right now, there's 22 parts of fescue, 16 parts of corn, 16 parts of corn to give us our energy. And there's 38 parts in our ration. In order for us to be able to utilize those numbers, let's make it a percent. So if we divide 22 by 38 and 16 by 38, it'll put us in a percentage form for it. So let me write this down. So, if we take 22, divide that by 38, we come up with 0.58. Multiply that by 100%, we get 58%. And corn, right here, comes straight across 16 parts corn, divided by 0.42, multiply that by 100, you get 42%. So, we know our ration will contain 58%. To meet the energy requirements, our ration needs to contain 58% hay, 42% corn. Everybody with me? Y'all have any questions there at this point in Patrick Henry? I take your silence as a zero. As a no. No questions or?
No questions.
All right. Nina, I know you've seen this before, but do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Keysville, Y'all with me?
We have no questions.
All right. Caitlin, the South Side. Any questions?
No.
All right. Guys, Patrick Henry, Mickey Mouse Arm says it's about time for Patrick Henry to leave. Y'all leave at 20 till 12, right?
Something like that, yeah.
All right. So we're at a good stopping point at this stage of the game. We will pick this up on Tuesday. I highly recommend for you guys to read this and work through it. The other thing you guys need to do is do that quiz on Blackboard. And have a good weekend.
When you gonna give your biosecurity exam
Yes,
this afternoon? Okay. Is that all you plan on doing? Hello.
I dropped my stuff, John. I was in the floor picking it up. Oh, forgive me. All right. What's your question, John? I'm sorry.
I said the test, the only thing you plan on doing today?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Well, we may not come over here. We may let Megan do it in the LRC.
John, that's fine. If she wants to go ahead and do it after this class so she doesn't have to wait around, that's fine too.
Okay, that's kind of where I was going.
I figured it was. I'm pretty easy to get along with.
I know. Thank you, sir.
Sorry. Nina, are you still there?
Yes.
Are you in the same boat as Megan? Can you go? If you wanted to take your exam and bug out the biosecurity class?
That's like, I didn't even say interjam. How did he hear that? But yet when I talked another class.
They have no one else to watch me today. The only time they have it is Friday, and I have the lab on Friday.
Okay, so you're not going to take it today?
I don't want to take it today.
Okay, so you're going to take it in class and
I just did that.
Yeah.
That works. I would be flexible with you and let me have,
Okay.
All right, yeah, I'll see you back here then at 1:30 and take your exam.
All right. Thank you.
Not a problem.